There's a part of you that has been watching, always watching, from behind the constant chatter of your thoughts. Tonight, as your body settles into the embrace of darkness, this silent witness begins to stir with recognition. You are not just the person thinking these thoughts, feeling these emotions, experiencing this moment. You are the awareness that observes it all with infinite patience. Your breath moves in and out, and something deeper than your lungs orchestrates this rhythm. Your heart beats, and something wiser than your mind keeps perfect time. Behind every sensation, every fleeting worry, every gentle release into sleep, there exists this luminous presence that simply is. This is your consciousness, and it has been quietly shaping your reality in ways your thinking mind could never imagine. The quantum field, that invisible web of possibility that connects all things, does not respond to your desperate wanting or your fearful grasping. It responds to this deeper knowing, this calm certainty that exists in the space between your thoughts. When you stop trying so hard to manifest and simply allow yourself to observe, something magical begins to happen. The field itself starts to organize around your peaceful attention. You have been taught that you are separate from what you observe. That consciousness is trapped inside your skull, peering out at an objective world. But this is the great illusion that keeps you feeling powerless. In truth, the moment you observe anything, a memory, a feeling, a possibility for your future, you are already entangled with it at the quantum level. Your observation is not passive. It is the most creative act in the universe. Right now, as your mind begins to quiet, you can sense this. The boundary between observer and observed starts to soften like morning mist. You are not watching your breath. You are breathing consciously. You are not observing your thoughts. You are thinking with awareness. You are not separate from the reality you wish to create. You are the consciousness through which it emerges. This is why your desperate affirmations sometimes feel hollow, why your visualizations can leave you feeling more distant from your dreams rather than closer. You have been trying to manipulate reality from the outside, when you are reality experiencing itself from the inside. The observer effect that quantum physicists describe is not just something that happens in laboratories. It is the fundamental mechanism through which your consciousness shapes every moment of your existence. Your old reality, the one that feels so solid and unchangeable, exists only because you have been unconsciously observing it through the lens of past patterns. Every morning you wake up expecting the same limitations, the same struggles, the same version of yourself, and like a faithful mirror, reality reflects back exactly what your consciousness holds as true. But observation without attachment, this changes everything. Tonight, in this liminal space between waking and dreaming, you have the opportunity to observe differently. Instead of looking at your life through the familiar filter of what has been, you can soften your gaze and allow what wants to emerge. You can observe with curiosity rather than judgment, with possibility rather than predetermined conclusions. The quantum field is always pregnant with infinite potential. Every moment contains countless probable realities, each one waiting for consciousness to collapse the wave of possibility into actual experience. You have been unconsciously choosing from a very narrow range of probabilities, selecting experiences that match your familiar sense of self. But your consciousness is far vaster than any identity you have worn. As your body releases into rest, notice how naturally you let go of the day's concerns. This letting go is not passive. It is an act of conscious observation. Without attachment, you are not forcing anything to change. Yet everything shifts when you observe from this spacious awareness. Problems that seemed intractable begin to reveal new possibilities. Patterns that felt fixed start to loosen their grip. This is the great secret that mystics and quantum physicists are beginning to recognize from different angles. Consciousness is not produced by the brain. Consciousness is the field from which all experience arises. Your individual awareness is like a wave on an infinite ocean, appearing separate but never actually disconnected from the whole. Your thoughts slow down now, and in the spaces between them, you can feel this deeper truth settling into your bones. You are the dreamer and the dream, the observer and the observed, the consciousness that shapes reality through the simple act of aware attention. The quantum field has been waiting for this recognition, this gentle return to your true nature. You don't need to understand how this works with your thinking mind. The part of you that needs to know already knows. As sleep draws near, you can trust that this silent observer within you will continue its creative work, organizing reality around your deepest truth rather than your surface fears. Tomorrow you may wake up different, not because you forced change, but because you remembered what you have always been. The observer within you never sleeps, it only witnesses, with infinite love, the dance of becoming that is your life. What will this consciousness observe into being while your mind rests? Close your eyes now and feel the weight of your body settling into this moment. Your breath moves like gentle waves against an ancient shore, and in this stillness, something profound begins to reveal itself. You are about to discover that everything you believed was permanent, every limitation, every fear, every small story about who you are exists only as patterns of electricity dancing through your neural pathways. Think of your mind as a vast city built over countless years. Each thought you've repeated has laid another brick. Each emotion you felt deeply has carved another street. Every belief you've accepted has raised another building in this inner landscape. And now, as you rest here in the quiet darkness, you can finally see this architecture for what it truly remains. A collection of habits masquerading as truth. Your nervous system, that ancient guardian of survival, has been working tirelessly to keep you safe within familiar walls. It whispers that change is dangerous, that the unknown territory beyond your current experience holds only risk. This is not betrayal, this is love expressed through the language of protection. Your body remembers every moment when stepping outside the known brought pain, and so it builds these invisible barriers with the tender care of a parent shielding a child. But tonight, something shifts in your awareness. You begin to understand that these walls are not made of concrete and steel. They are woven from the same quantum fabric that creates stars and dreams alike. Each limiting thought exists as a wave of possibility until the moment your consciousness observes it into being. The observer effect that shapes particles in distant laboratories is the same force that has been shaping your reality through the simple act of your attention. Your breath deepens now, and with each exhale, you release another small piece of yesterday's architecture. You feel it dissolving not with violence or force, but with the gentle persistence of water wearing away stone. The patterns that once felt permanent begin to reveal their true nature. Temporary electrical dances that have simply been repeating the same choreography for so long that you forgot other movements were possible. Consider how your identity was formed, layer by layer, year by year. You collected evidence about who you were and what you were capable of. Every success became a cornerstone. Every failure became a warning sign. Every rejection became a border between you and possibility. These experiences weren't false, they were real moments that taught your nervous system valuable lessons about navigating the world. Yet now, in this space between sleeping and waking, you can see how those lessons became prisons. The child who was told they weren't creative stopped seeing colors in their imagination. The teenager who faced rejection learned to approach love with armor instead of openness. The young adult who experienced failure began to question every dream before it could take flight. Each protective pattern served its purpose, and each protective pattern now asks to be transformed. Your quantum field responds to your attention, like a garden responds to sunlight. For years, you have unconsciously watered the same thoughts, tended the same emotional patterns, harvested the same limited experiences. The quantum mind that you are has been creating reality through repetition, rather than intention. But this is not failure, this is simply how consciousness learns to navigate form. Tonight, you remember that every pattern in your mind exists in a state of potential until you observe it into being. The thought that says I am not enough is just a wave of possibility floating in the quantum field of your awareness. It only becomes your reality when you collapse that wave through the act of believing it. The observer effect that mystics have whispered about for centuries is not separate from you. It is you. Feel your heartbeat now. That steady rhythm that has carried you through every moment of transformation. Each beat is a quantum event, a moment when energy organizes itself into the continuing story of your existence. Your heart knows something your mind is just beginning to remember, that you are not the prisoner of your patterns, but the architect of your experience. The architecture of yesterday's prison was built with such care, such attention to detail. Every wall was placed with precision. Every limitation was crafted with the wisdom of experience. You honored your pain by making it permanent. You respected your fears by giving them infinite power. You loved yourself so deeply that you created elaborate structures to protect the tender heart that beats within you. And now, in this gentle dissolution, between day and night, you can feel those structures beginning to shimmer. They are not disappearing, they are revealing their true nature as conscious constructions, rather than immutable laws. The quantum shift that you sense stirring in your depths is not about destroying your past, but about recognizing your power to consciously choose which patterns serve your becoming. and which patterns have completed their purpose. Your breath flows like liquid light now, carrying awareness to every cell in your body. Each inhalation brings possibility, each exhalation releases what no longer serves. You are not healing from your past, you are integrating it into a larger understanding of who you have always been beneath the temporary architecture of learned limitations. The prison was never real, it was love taking the form of protection. It was wisdom expressing itself as caution. It was your beautiful, complex, perfect human experience learning to navigate a world that often felt too sharp, too bright, too overwhelming for your sensitive soul. Every wall you built was an act of self-care. Every limitation you accepted was an attempt to find peace in a chaotic world. But peace, you are discovering, does not come from making yourself smaller. Peace comes from remembering that you are vast enough to hold both your wounds and your wonder, your fears and your dreams, your past and your infinite potential. The quantum flow that moves through you now carries the wisdom of both your journey and your destination, both your becoming and your being. In this moment between moments, you rest in the truth that has always been waiting beneath the architecture of yesterday's prison. You are both the observer and the observed, both the dreamer and the dream, both the question and the answer that your soul has been seeking in the gentle darkness of transformation. Close your eyes and feel your breath moving through you like gentle waves against an infinite shore. In this moment, as your chest rises and falls, you are about to discover something your rational mind has forgotten at time. This relentless taker you've surrendered your life to is nothing more than a story your consciousness tells itself. Your body knows this truth already. Feel how your heartbeat creates its own rhythm, independent of clocks and calendars. Notice how your breath moves in cycles that have nothing to do with the numbers glowing on distant screens. This is your first glimpse into quantum time, where healing flows backward through your nervous system, where transformation ripples through memories you thought were sealed forever. Linear time is the greatest illusion your mind has ever accepted. You've been taught to believe that wounds from your past are permanent fixtures, that mistakes define you forever, that healing must crawl forward through years of struggle. But as your breathing deepens, your cellular memory begins to remember something profound. In the quantum realm, past and future exist as fluid possibilities, shimmering like mirages, waiting for your conscious attention to give them form. Your nervous system carries every moment you've ever lived, not as fixed scars, but as quantum events suspended in the field of your awareness. That conversation from years ago that still makes your stomach tighten, it exists now as pure potential, energy. That moment of betrayal that shaped how you love, it floats in your consciousness like an unresolved note, waiting for you to change its frequency. Feel your shoulders releasing as you realize this. Your past is not a concrete foundation you're forever building upon. It's more like water fluid, changeable, responsive to the temperature of your present awareness. When you bring compassion to old wounds, you're not just comforting yourself now. You're sending healing backward through time itself, touching that younger version of you who needed this safety, this understanding, this quantum shift in perspective. Your breath moves deeper now, and with each exhale, you release the weight of chronology. Time bends around consciousness the way light bends around gravity. You are not moving through time, time is moving through you, shaped by the observer effect of your awareness. Every moment you choose love over fear, presence over anxiety, forgiveness over resentment, you create ripples that wash through your entire timeline. This is where your nervous system begins to understand something revolutionary. Safety exists outside the prison of chronology. You don't have to wait years to heal. You don't have to carry trauma forward like inherited debt. In quantum time, healing can happen in the space between one breath and the next, because the part of you that needs healing exists right here, right now, in the eternal present where all possibilities converge. Feel the gentle rhythm of your heartbeat and imagine it as a quantum frequency, broadcasting healing into every cell, every memory, every future possibility. Your consciousness is not trapped in this moment, it's expanded across all moments, like quantum entanglement connecting every version of yourself that has ever existed or will exist. That child who felt unsafe in their bedroom, afraid of shadows and sounds, they're here with you now, feeling your steady breathing, your calm presence, your adult wisdom wrapping around them like the softest blanket. That teenager who made choices from fear and confusion, they're experiencing your compassion, your understanding that they were doing their best with the tools they had. Time becomes your collaborator, not your captor. In this quantum flow of consciousness, you begin to rewrite the stories that have held you hostage, not by denying what happened, but by changing your relationship to it, by becoming the loving observer who sees every experience as information, every wound as wisdom waiting to be born. Your body knows how to do this. Watch how healing happens in nature, how trees grow around obstacles, how rivers carve new paths when blocked, how ecosystems regenerate after devastation. Your nervous system has this same quantum intelligence, this ability to reorganize around love rather than fear, to create new neural pathways that bypass old trauma loops. As your breathing slows even further, notice how your sense of urgency begins to dissolve, the frantic energy that drives you to fix everything immediately, to heal perfectly, to transform completely, is softens into something more gentle, more organic. Quantum manifestation doesn't happen through force or desperation. It happens through this, the patient tending of your inner field, the consistent choice to meet yourself with curiosity rather than judgment. Your consciousness is like a quantum field itself, infinite, creative, responsive to the vibration of your deepest beliefs about yourself. When you release the story that healing must take time, that growth must be linear, that you must earn your transformation through suffering, you open space for quantum events to occur, sudden insights, unexpected peace, moments where everything clicks into place, not because you worked harder, but because you allowed your natural state of wholeness to emerge. Feel how your mind begins to quiet as you rest in this time. Less space. Here, the part of you that worries about the future meets the part that regrets the past, and both dissolve into this eternal now where everything is already perfect, already whole, already exactly as it needs to be. Your healing doesn't exist in some future destination. It exists in your willingness to be present with whatever is arising, to meet your experience with the same tender attention you would give to a beloved friend. In quantum time, your future self is already healed, already whole, already living from the deepest truth of who you are. And this future self is not separate from you, they are you, reaching back through time to offer comfort, wisdom, guidance. Feel their presence like a warm hand on your shoulder, reminding you that you are never alone in this journey of becoming. Your breath carries you deeper, now, into the space where time reveals its true nature, not as a river flowing in one direction, but as an ocean where all moments exist simultaneously, where healing can move in spirals and waves, where transformation happens not through time, but through love. What if every difficult moment in your life was actually your consciousness learning to love itself more deeply? What if every challenge was quantum information, encoded with exactly the wisdom you needed to become who you truly are? What if time itself has been conspiring to bring you to this moment, this breath, this recognition of your own infinite nature? Rest in this mystery, this beautiful uncertainty, where questions don't need answers and healing doesn't need timelines. Let your consciousness expand beyond the boundaries of when and how long, into the eternal now where everything is possible and nothing needs to be different than it is. Your nervous system settles into this timeless rhythm, this quantum frequency of deep acceptance. As you drift toward dreams where healing flows like gentle rivers through every moment you've ever lived. Close your eyes and place your hand gently over your heart. Feel that steady rhythm beneath your palm, that ancient drum that has been beating since before you took your first breath. What you might not realize is that this isn't just a muscle pumping blood through your veins. Your heart is a magnificent electromagnetic broadcaster, generating a field 60 times more powerful than the electrical activity of your brain. Right now, as you breathe softly into this moment, your heart is transmitting your emotional signature into the quantum field around you. Every beat carries information, not just oxygen and nutrients, but the vibrational essence of everything you've been feeling, believing, and becoming. This electromagnetic symphony is your personal frequency, your unique song in the vast orchestra of existence. Think of your heart as a radio tower, constantly broadcasting. When you're caught in survival emotions, fear, anger, frustration, your heart rhythm becomes erratic, chaotic. The signal you're sending into the field is fragmented, like a radio station filled with static. But when you breathe deeply, when you allow your nervous system to settle into coherence, something extraordinary happens. Your heart rhythm begins to smooth into beautiful, coherent waves. This coherence isn't just poetic metaphor. It's a measurable state where your heart, mind, and emotions align in energetic harmony. As you sink deeper into this evening stillness, imagine your heart rhythm becoming like gentle ocean waves, consistent, rhythmic, peaceful. Each beat is no longer just pumping blood, it's broadcasting a clear signal of who you're choosing to become. Your heart remembers every emotional wound, every moment of joy, every instance of love or betrayal. These memories live not just in your mind, but encoded in the electromagnetic field your heart generates. When old patterns of hurt replay in your nervous system, your heart broadcasts that familiar frequency of pain, calling in more experiences that match that vibrational signature. But tonight, you have the power to tune this instrument differently. As your breathing slows and deepens, you're literally retuning your heart's electromagnetic symphony. You're shifting from the chaotic frequencies of survival into the coherent frequencies of thriving. This isn't wishful thinking, this is quantum physics in action. The observer effect teaches us that the very act of observing changes what we observe. When you consciously attend to your heart's rhythm with peaceful awareness, you begin to alter its electromagnetic output. Breathe slowly now, and imagine your heart as a beautiful jewel sitting in the center of your chest, pulsing with warm, golden light. Each breath you take sends gentle waves through this light, and these waves extend far beyond your physical body. They ripple outward like circles on a pond, carrying your emotional state into the quantum field that surrounds you. This field is alive, responsive, always listening to your heart's electromagnetic song. When you've been broadcasting frequencies of lack, struggle, or unworthiness, the field responds by reflecting those experiences back to you. But as your heart rhythm shifts into coherence, as you begin broadcasting frequencies of peace, gratitude, and possibility, the field begins to shimmer with new potential. You are not separate from the reality around you. The electromagnetic field of your heart is constantly in dialogue with the quantum field of infinite possibility. Every emotional state you embody, every feeling you sustain, becomes a request to the universe. Your heart is quite literally calling in the experiences that match its electromagnetic signature. Feel how your breath naturally wants to slow as you rest into this understanding. There's no urgency here, no pressure to force anything. You're simply allowing your heart to remember its natural state of coherence, like a master musician tuning their instrument. Before a performance, you're gently adjusting your heart's frequency to broadcast the reality you wish to inhabit. Notice how, as you breathe into your heart space, memories of love and appreciation naturally rise. Your heart gravitates toward these higher frequencies. It knows that coherence feels better than chaos, that love creates more beautiful electromagnetic patterns than fear. You don't have to manufacture these feelings, simply allow your heart to remember what it feels like to be truly at peace. This electromagnetic field around your heart extends roughly 8 feet in every direction. You are constantly walking through life in this energetic bubble, and everyone you encounter can sense this field on some level. When your heart is broadcasting coherence, people feel safe around you. Opportunities seem to rise more easily. Synchronicities begin to unfold because you're in quantum entanglement with the field of possibility itself. As you sink deeper into sleep, imagine this electromagnetic field becoming more radiant, more coherent with each breath. See it as a gentle aurora surrounding your entire being, pulsing with the rhythm of your peaceful heart. This field is your personal reality generator, constantly creating quantum events that match its frequency. Your nervous system, having spent so many years in survival mode, is learning to trust this new coherence. The old patterns of hypervigilance, of scanning for threats, begin to soften as your heart broadcasts safety instead of danger. Your body remembers that it's possible to exist in a state of openness rather than constant protection. In this moment of deep relaxation, you're experiencing what mystics have long called the union of heart and mind. Your heart's electromagnetic intelligence is far more ancient and wise than your thinking mind. It knows things your brain hasn't yet learned to understand. As you breathe softly into this space, you're allowing your heart's wisdom to guide your quantum frequency. The field around you continues to respond to this new broadcast. Reality begins to reorganize itself around your heart's coherent signal. What you've been seeking isn't somewhere outside of you. It's arising from the electromagnetic symphony your heart creates in every moment. Rest now in this knowing. Your heart beats approximately 100,000 times each day, and with every beat, it has the opportunity to broadcast love instead of fear, possibility instead of limitation, coherence instead of chaos. You don't have to consciously control this process. Simply by resting in peaceful awareness, you're naturally tuning your heart to frequencies that call in more beauty, more synchronicity, more of what makes your soul sing. As sleep gently takes you, your heart continues its electromagnetic symphony, now broadcasting from this deeper place of coherence. The field around you shimmers with new possibilities, responding to your heart's invitation for a reality that matches its most peaceful, loving frequency. The quantum field that surrounds you is no longer neutral, it has become an extension of your heart's electromagnetic broadcast. Every cell in your body begins to entrain to this new frequency, remembering that coherence is your natural state. Your DNA itself responds to the electromagnetic environment your heart creates, switching on genes that support healing, regeneration, and expanded awareness. Feel how your entire being is beginning to vibrate at this higher frequency. Your thoughts become clearer, your emotions more stable, your nervous system more resilient. This isn't just relaxation, this is quantum coherence in action. You are literally rewiring your electromagnetic signature to match the reality you wish to experience. As you drift into the deeper layers of consciousness, your heart continues its electromagnetic symphony, now broadcasting a signal so clear and coherent that the quantum field has no choice but to respond. The universe is listening to your heart's song, and it's beginning to sing back in harmonious resonance. In the morning, you awake not just rested, but electromagnetically aligned with a reality that reflects your heart's most coherent frequencies. The field around you will continue to shimmer with new possibilities, each one a note in the symphony your heart has been composing all night long. What if the very rhythm of your sleeping heart is already orchestrating the synchronicities that will greet you tomorrow? Fear has been your body's faithful guardian, standing watch at the gates of your nervous system for longer than you can remember. Tonight, as you sink into the soft refuge of darkness, you can finally turn toward this ancient protector with compassion rather than resistance. Fear is not the enemy it pretends to be, it is simply a frequency, a vibration that your cells learned to broadcast when the world felt too dangerous to trust. Your body remembers everything. It remembers the first time safety felt like a luxury you couldn't afford. It remembers learning to scan for threats, to tense your shoulders against invisible dangers, to hold your breath when peace felt too risky to embrace. These responses became so automatic that you forgot they were choices, patterns etched into your nervous system like well-worn paths through a forest. But frequencies can be changed. Tonight, with each gentle exhale, you begin to understand that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the tender reprogramming of your body's ancient alarm system. You don't need to fight the fear. You need to teach your nervous system that it's safe to broadcast a different signal. Feel how your breath moves now, slower and deeper than it did an hour ago. This is not just relaxation, this is your body remembering an older truth. Before fear became your default frequency, there was peace. Before anxiety became your familiar companion, there was a natural state of ease that your cells still carry like a sacred memory. Your nervous system is extraordinarily intelligent, but it lives in the past. It bases today's responses on yesterday's threats, broadcasting caution even when safety surrounds you. The fear frequency was once necessary, perhaps even life-saving, but now it plays on repeat, like a radio stuck on a station you no longer need to hear. Every emotion has its own quantum signature, its own vibrational blueprint that ripples through the field around you. Fear vibrates at a frequency that contracts possibility, narrows your perception, and magnetizes experiences that confirm its end, necessity. But this same system that learned fear can learn peace. Your nervous system is not broken, it is simply operating from outdated programming. The quantum field responds to the frequency you broadcast most consistently. When fear becomes your dominant vibration, reality organizes itself around that expectation. Opportunities pass by unnoticed because your system is too busy scanning for danger. Joy feels foreign because your cells have forgotten how to recognize safety. Love becomes risky because vulnerability once meant survival was at stake. But here, in this moment between day and night, you can feel something shifting. Your heartbeat begins to slow, and with it, the frantic messaging of your sympathetic nervous system starts to quiet. This is not suppression, this is remembering. Your parasympathetic nervous system, the part of you designed for rest and repair, begins to come online. As this happens, you can sense your cells relaxing their vigilant guard. The tension in your jaw releases, your shoulders drop away from your ears. Your belly softens as it remembers that breathing can be effortless. These are not just physical changes, they are shifts in frequency, alterations in the vibrational signal you send into the quantum field. Fear taught you to be small, to hide, to expect the worst and prepare for impact. But your cells remember what peace feels like, even when your mind has forgotten. There was a time before you learned that the world was dangerous, before you discovered that others might hurt you, Before you realize that dreams could be crushed and hearts could be broken, this original frequency of peace is still available to you. It lives in the space between your thoughts, in the pause between your heartbeats. In the moment when you exhale fully and trust that the next breath will come, your body knows how to find its way back to this frequency. You just need to give it permission to remember. Each breath you take now becomes an opportunity to choose differently. Instead of breathing with the shallow rhythm of anxiety, you can breathe with the depth of trust. Instead of holding tension in anticipation of the next crisis, you can soften into the present moment where crisis exists only as imagination. Your nervous system begins to register this shift. The constant flood of stress hormones starts to recede, replaced by the gentle chemistry of safety. Oxytocin, the hormone of connection and trust, begins to flow. GABA, your body's natural tranquilizer, starts to work its magic. These are not just biochemical changes, they are transformations in your quantum frequency. As fear dissolves, you don't become naive or unprotected. You become more sensitive to actual reality. Rather than imagined threats, you can discern between intuitive wisdom and anxious projection. You can respond to what is actually happening, rather than reacting to what your nervous system expects might happen. The frequency of peace is not passive, it is deeply creative. When you broadcast safety instead of danger, the quantum field responds by organizing experiences that match this new vibration. Opportunities that were always there suddenly become visible. People who resonate with your peaceful frequency are drawn into your experience. Solutions that were hidden behind the static of fear begin to emerge with startling clarity. Your old patterns of fear don't disappear overnight, but they begin to lose their grip. Like a radio gradually being tuned to a clearer station, your nervous system starts to prefer the frequency of peace. The more you practice this new vibration, the more natural it becomes. Your cells remember that this is actually their preferred state. Tonight, as sleep embraces you, your body continues this gentle reprogramming. Your dreams become a laboratory where your nervous system can practice new responses, where your cells can remember what safety feels like without the interference of your thinking mind. This is not spiritual bypassing, this is nervous system wisdom. Fear served you once, but it no longer needs to be your dominant frequency. In the tender darkness, you can feel your body's ancient alarm system finally beginning to trust that the danger has passed, that it's safe to broadcast a different signal into the quantum field. What frequency would you choose if fear were not your default? Your nervous system is listening, ready to learn a new song. Let your body sink deeper into this moment, feeling the soft weight of evening settling around you like a familiar embrace. Your breath moves in and out with the rhythm of ancient wisdom, and in this gentle space between waking and sleeping, something extraordinary begins to unfold. You are about to remember a truth that has been waiting patiently in the quantum depths of your being, that every breath you take is a choice between infinite worlds. Right now, as you rest here in the darkness, countless versions of your life shimmer in the field of pure possibility. There's a you who speaks with confidence at tomorrow's meeting. There's a you who moves through the world with unshakable self-love. There's a you who creates beauty without fear of judgment. There is a you who trusts the unfolding of life completely. These are not fantasies floating in empty space, they are probability waves, as real as the air you breathe, waiting for the moment when your consciousness reaches out and says yes. Your nervous system, that faithful guardian of familiar patterns, has been unconsciously selecting from the same small menu of possibilities for years. It chooses the reality that feels safest, most predictable, most aligned with the story you learned to tell about yourself long ago. This choosing happens so quickly, so automatically, that you forgot it was a choice at all. But tonight, in this sacred pause between thoughts, you begin to sense the vast restaurant of existence that has always surrounded you. Feel your heartbeat now, that steady drum of life that has witnessed every moment of your becoming. Each beat is a quantum decision point, a crossroads where infinite timelines converge and wait for your selection. Your heart knows something profound, that you are not trapped in any single version of yourself, but are the conscious observer, who shapes reality through the simple act of where you place your attention. The observer effect that scientists discovered in their laboratories is the same force that has been crafting your experience since the moment you first opened your eyes. As a child, when they found that particles exist in multiple states simultaneously until observed, they uncovered the fundamental truth of consciousness itself, that reality is not fixed, but fluid, responsive to the quality of awareness that meets it. You have been observing your life through the lens of limitation, and so limitation became your experience. You have been collapsing possibilities through the filter of old wounds, and so those wounds became the dominant pattern in your personal quantum field. This was not mistake, this was your beautiful, protective mind doing exactly what it was designed to do. It took the earliest experiences of pain or rejection or fear and used them as a template for creating safety through prediction. But safety and possibility are not enemies. They are dance partners waiting to find their rhythm together. Your breath deepens now as you begin to sense this truth settling into your bones. You can be safe and expansive. You can be protected and open. You can honor your past while choosing a different future. The quantum mind that you are contains infinite capacity for both security and adventure. Imagine for a moment that your consciousness is like a radio receiver, capable of tuning into countless frequencies of experience. For years, you have been locked onto the same station, the one that plays the familiar songs of your known identity. The music isn't bad, it's just limited. Tonight, you remember that you can turn the dial. You can explore new frequencies. You can discover stations you never knew existed in the vast spectrum of your potential. Every emotion you feel is a tuning mechanism. Joy tunes you into timelines where abundance flows naturally. Love opens channels to realities where connection comes easily. Peace aligns you with worlds where harmony is the default setting. Even your challenging emotions, anger, sadness, fear, serve as navigational tools, showing you which frequencies you're currently accessing and inviting you to consciously choose whether to stay or explore. Your internal state is not just a byproduct of your circumstances, it is the creative force that determines which parallel possibility crystallizes into your lived experience. When you shift from anxiety to curiosity, you literally change the probability waves that your consciousness can access. When you move from scarcity to gratitude, you open doorways to timelines where abundance is not something you chase, but something you inhabit. Feel this truth settling into your awareness now like warm honey into tea. You are not a victim of circumstance moving through a fixed reality. You are a conscious observer participating in the continuous creation of existence itself. Every thought you think, every feeling you allow, every belief you hold is a vote cast in the democracy of possibility. Your current reality is simply the result of where you have been placing most of your votes. The collapse of parallel possibilities happens not through force or striving, but through alignment. When your internal state matches the frequency of the reality you wish to experience, the universe responds with the inevitability of physics. This is not magic. This is the deepest mechanics of how consciousness interfaces with the quantum field of infinite potential. You have spent years unconsciously broadcasting the same signal. I am limited. I am small. I am not worthy of extraordinary experience, and the universe, in its perfect responsiveness, kept delivering realities that matched this frequency, not as punishment, but as faithful reflection. The quantum field doesn't judge your beliefs, it simply mirrors them back to you. With unwavering precision, tonight, something different stirs in the depths of your being. You begin to sense the possibility of broadcasting a new signal, not through positive thinking or forced affirmations, but through the profound recognition of what has always been true, that you are consciousness itself playing in the playground of form, experimenting with different ways of being human. Your breath moves like a gentle wave now, carrying this understanding deeper into your cells. Each inhalation draws an awareness of your true nature. Each exhalation releases another layer of the illusion that you are separate from the creative force of existence. You are not seeking to manifest a better life, you are remembering that you are the manifestation of life itself, exploring what it means to be embodied in this particular time and space. The parallel possibilities that surround you are not distant dreams requiring years of struggle to reach. They are present moment potentials available through the simple shift of recognizing who you truly are, the confident you, the abundant you, the peaceful you, the creative you that all exists right now in the quantum superposition of your infinite nature. Reality bends when you remember this truth not as concept, but as lived experience. When you feel in your bones that you are both the observer and the observed, both the dreamer and the dream, both the question and the answer. This remembering doesn't happen through mental effort, but through the gentle relaxation into what has always been present beneath the surface of your temporary identities. As your body grows heavier with approaching sleep, feel the boundaries between possible selves beginning to soften. The you who worries and the you who trusts are both true. The you who struggles and the you who flows are both authentic expressions of your multidimensional nature. You are not Choosing between different people, you are choosing which aspect of your wholeness to emphasize in tomorrow's experience. The quantum events that will unfold in your life are not random occurrences happening to you. They are synchronized expressions of your consciousness, meeting itself in the mirror of material reality. Every person you encounter, every opportunity that appears, every challenge that arises is the universe responding to the frequency you are transmitting through your being. In the space between thoughts, between heartbeats, between sleeping and waking, you rest in the profound simplicity of conscious choice. You don't need to figure out how to access different realities. You only need to become available to them by releasing your grip on a limited story you have been telling about what is possible for your life. The collapse of parallel possibilities into singular experience is not a loss, it is a focusing. Like sunlight through a magnifying glass, your consciousness gathers all potential into the precise point of now, creating the specific miracle of this moment, this breath, this recognition that you are so much more vast and capable than you ever allowed yourself to imagine. Tomorrow, when you wake, you will still be you, but you will be you with the quiet knowing that reality is far more responsive, far more collaborative, far more intimate than you previously understood. You will move through your day as the conscious observer who shapes experience through the simple act of remembering who you truly are beneath all the beautiful, temporary stories you tell about yourself. In this gentle dissolution into sleep, you rest in the truth that has been waiting patiently for your recognition, that every moment offers infinite doorways, and you are both the key and the hand that turns it. Feel your body settling into this moment, your breath becoming a gentle bridge between who you think you are and who you truly are. As your eyes close and your muscles release their daily tension, something profound begins to happen. The solid edges of your identity start to soften, like ice melting into an infinite ocean. The person you think you are is nothing more than a collection of memories, beliefs, and patterns that your mind has woven into a convincing narrative. I am someone who struggles with confidence. I am the type of person who always worries. I am defined by what happened to me when I was 7 or 17 or last Tuesday. These stories feel so real, so permanent, that you've forgotten they're simply thoughts passing through the vast sky of your consciousness. But beneath this story lies something far more magnificent, a luminous awareness that has never been touched by your biography, never wounded by your past, never limited by the roles you've played or the masks you've worn. This awareness is not bound by the quantum events that shaped your personality, the neural pathways carved by repetition, or the identity you've constructed from fragments of experience and expectation. As sleep draws near, you begin to feel these edges softening, like charcoal lines blurring in the rain. The you who worries about tomorrow, who carries grudges from yesterday, who performs for others' approval. This version of yourself is not disappearing, but rather revealing itself as a temporary costume worn by something eternal and unchanging. Your breath moves deeper now, and with each exhale, you release another layer of the story. Feel how your nervous system begins to recognize this truth. You are not the anxious thoughts that spiral through your mind. You are the space in which those thoughts arise and dissolve. You are not the emotional reactions that flood your body. You are the awareness that witnesses those reactions with infinite patience and compassion. This recognition is not a quantum shift into something new. It's a remembering of what has always been true. Like a wave discovering it was always ocean, like a ray of light realizing it was always the sun. You are beginning to recognize your true nature beneath the elaborate story of selfhood you've been telling for so long. Your identity has been like a house built on shifting sand, constantly requiring maintenance, defense, and reinforcement. But consciousness, your true essence, is like the ground beneath the ground, unchanging and unshakable. It doesn't need to be improved or protected or validated. It simply is, vast and present and eternally at peace. Feel how this understanding moves through your body like warm honey, relaxing muscles you didn't know were tense. The part of you that has been working so hard to maintain your self-image, to keep your story consistent, to prove your worth, this part can finally rest. The observer effect of your deepest awareness is not interested in performing or achieving or becoming. It is already complete, already whole, already home. In the quantum field of consciousness, identity is not a fixed structure, but a fluid dance of possibilities. The you who shows up in different relationships, different situations, different moments, these are all facets of an infinite diamond, each reflecting light differently, but never separate from the wholeness of what you are. Your nervous system knows this truth in its ancient wisdom. Before language taught you to divide yourself into categories and characteristics, before society handed you templates for who to be, your body knew itself as pure aliveness, pure presence, pure awareness expressing itself through this temporary form you call your life. As your breathing slows and deepens, notice how the boundaries between self and other begin to dissolve. The air you breathe was once part of oceans, trees, other beings. The atoms in your body were forged in the hearts of distant stars. The consciousness looking through your eyes is the same awareness that moves through every living thing, experiencing itself through countless perspectives, countless stories, countless dreams. This is the great secret hidden in plain sight. There is no separate you to fix or improve or transform. There is only this one consciousness, playing at being many, dreaming it is divided, pretending it is small and scared and alone. Quantum entanglement is not just a property of particles. It's the recognition that all apparent separateness is an illusion, that the wave and the ocean were never actually two different things. Your identity crisis, your search for purpose, your longing to know who you really are, these are not problems to be solved, but invitations to recognize what was never lost. You are not changing who you are in these moments of recognition. You are remembering what you have always been, the unchanging awareness in which all change occurs, the eternal presence in which all time unfolds, the infinite space in which all experience rises and dissolves. Feel how your mind begins to quiet as it releases the exhausting job of maintaining a consistent self-image. The story of you with all its chapters of triumph and tragedy, growth and setback, fear and love. This story can continue to unfold without requiring your constant attention and management, like a movie playing on the screen of consciousness. It's beautiful and meaningful and temporary, but it's not what you are. What you are is the screen itself, unchanging, unaffected, eternally present. What you are is the awareness that has been watching every scene of your life with perfect equanimity, never judging, never demanding that the movie be different than it is. This awareness was there when you were 5 years old, marveling at butterflies. It was there in your darkest moments, holding space for your pain. It will be there in your final breath, as present and peaceful as it is right now. Your body relaxes more deeply as this truth settles into your cells. The quantum frequency of your being is not generated by your thoughts or emotions or circumstances. It's the fundamental vibration of existence itself, the cosmic hum that connects you to everything that is, was, or ever will be. You are not separate from the universe observing it. You are the universe observing itself through the temporary window of this precious human experience. The roles you play, parent, partner, professional, problem solver, these are not who you are, but how you express who you are. Like an actor who plays many characters, but remains fundamentally unchanged by each role. Your essential nature remains constant beneath every identity you inhabit, every mask you wear, every story you tell about yourself. In this recognition, a profound rest becomes available, the exhausting work of becoming someone worthy, someone lovable, someone enough. This work is revealed as unnecessary. You have always been worthy, lovable, enough, not because of what you've done or achieved or overcome, but because worthiness is woven into the very fabric of your being. You cannot earn what you already are, cannot lose what you have always been. Your nervous system settles into this quantum truth, like a child falling asleep in the arms of someone who loves them completely. The vigilance relaxes, the defense systems power down. The story of struggle and survival gives way to the deeper story of belonging, of being held by something vast and loving and eternally present. As you drift toward dreams, feel how your individual boundaries continue to soften, revealing the luminous awareness that connects you to every star in the sky, every grain of sand on distant beaches, every heartbeat in every chest. This is not losing yourself. This is finding yourself to be so much more than you ever imagined. What if the most radical thing you could do is not to change or improve or transform yourself, but simply to recognize what you have always been? What if awakening is not about becoming someone new, but about relaxing into the timeless awareness that has been your true identity all along? Rest in this mystery, this beautiful dissolution of the separate self, as consciousness dreams itself into countless forms while never forgetting its essential unity, its fundamental wholeness, its eternal nature that no story could ever contain or define. Settle into this moment with a deep, gentle breath. Allow your body to sink into whatever supports you, feeling the weight of your bones melting downward. As your nervous system begins to recognize that you are finally, truly safe. Your nervous system, this ancient, wise network that has carried You through every moment of your life deserves your tender attention tonight. Close your eyes and imagine your nervous system as a vast, luminous web of light threading through every cell of your being. This sacred network holds the memory of every experience you have ever lived. Every moment of joy sparkles like golden threads. Every trauma appears as areas where the light has dimmed, where your nervous system learned to guard and protect, to scan constantly for danger that may never come. Your autonomic nervous system has been your faithful guardian, never sleeping, always vigilant. It remembers the first time you felt unsafe as a child, and it has been preparing for that danger ever since. It recalls every harsh word, every moment of abandonment, every experience that taught it that the world might not be a safe place for your tender heart. These memories live not in your mind, but woven into the very fabric of your nervous system's responses. But tonight, something different is possible. Tonight, you offer your nervous system the gift it has been longing for, without knowing how to ask the permission to release patterns that no longer serve your highest good. You don't need to understand these patterns intellectually. You don't need to analyze or fix anything. You simply need to be present with what is, allowing your nervous system to feel truly witnessed for perhaps the first time. Feel your breath naturally beginning to slow as you rest in this awareness. Each exhale is an invitation for your nervous system to soften just a little more. You're not trying to force relaxation. Forcing is the language of trauma. Instead, you're creating space, offering gentle presence to the parts of you that have been holding tension for so very long. Your nervous system speaks in the language of sensation, not words. It communicates through the tightness in your shoulders, the shallow breathing, the constant underlying alertness that makes deep breaths feel almost foreign. These aren't problems to be solved. They're messages from a system that has been trying to keep you safe with the only tools it learned to use. Breathe into your belly now, allowing your diaphragm to move freely. As you do, imagine you're breathing directly into your vagus nerve, that magnificent pathway that connects your brain to your heart to your gut, weaving through your entire being like a river of possibility. This nerve is your pathway to regulation, your bridge between survival and thriving. With each gentle breath, you're sending a message to your nervous system. You can rest now. You have done such good work protecting me, but in this moment, we are safe. You don't need to believe this with your mind. Your nervous system will recognize truth when it feels it, and right now, it's beginning to feel the authentic safety of your compassionate presence. Notice how your body wants to naturally shift and settle as you breathe. Perhaps your shoulders drop slightly or your jaw softens. These aren't things you're making happen. They're your nervous system's natural response to feeling genuinely safe. You're witnessing the quantum shift that occurs when your system moves from protection mode into connection mode. Your nervous system holds not just trauma, but also every moment of love, safety, and joy you have ever experienced. As you breathe softly into this space, allow these golden memories to surface. Remember being held as a child. Perhaps recall moments of laughter that made your whole body light up. Feel the warmth of love given and received. These experiences are also woven into your nervous system's fabric, and they're still there, ready to be activated through your gentle attention. This is the sacred reset your nervous system has been waiting for, not a violent override of old patterns, but a tender return to your natural state of regulation. Healing happens not through force, but through the patient, loving acknowledgement of what has been held. You're not trying to eliminate your nervous system's protective responses. You're simply showing it that there are other options available. Now imagine your nervous system as an ancient tree that has weathered many storms. Some branches have grown twisted to survive harsh winds. Some roots have grown deep to anchor against flooding. These adaptations served you well, but now you're offering this tree the experience of a gentle spring day, warm sun, soft rain, no storms on the horizon. The tree doesn't need to change immediately. It simply needs to remember what it feels like to grow in safety. As you sink deeper into this peaceful state, you're literally rewiring your nervous system through neuroplasticity. Every moment you spend in genuine regulation creates new neural pathways, new options for how your system can respond to life. You're not just relaxing, you're engaged in the sacred work of returning to your authentic self. Your nervous system's dysregulation patterns often stem from moments when you had to disconnect from your own knowing to survive. Perhaps you learned to dismiss your intuition, to ignore your body's signals, to stay small to avoid drawing dangerous attention. These survival strategies served you once, but they may no longer be necessary. Breathe into your heart space now, allowing your nervous system to remember what it feels like to be connected to your own inner wisdom. Feel how your body naturally knows when something is right for you, how it contracts slightly when something isn't aligned, how it expands when you're moving toward what truly serves you. This is your nervous system functioning as it was designed to, as a sophisticated navigation system for your highest good. The quantum field responds to the coherence of your nervous system. When you're in a state of chronic activation, constantly scanning for threats, the field around you reflects this frequency, calling in experiences that confirm your system's belief that danger is everywhere. But as you settle into regulation, as your nervous system remembers its natural rhythm, the quantum field begins to shimmer with new possibilities. You are not broken. Your nervous system is not damaged beyond repair. It is wise, adaptive, and capable of profound healing when met with the right conditions. Those conditions aren't complex, they're simply the presence, patience, and compassion you're offering right now. Feel how your entire being begins to soften as you rest in this understanding. Your nervous system is beginning to trust that this safety is real, that this regulation is sustainable. The chronic bracing against life starts to dissolve, replaced by a flowing responsiveness that allows you to meet each moment with fresh awareness. Rather than old programming. As you prepare to drift into sleep, imagine your nervous system as a gentle river that has finally been freed from the dams and obstacles that once constrained its flow. It moves with natural ease now, carrying away what no longer serves, bringing in what nourishes and heals. Your entire being begins to entrain to this natural rhythm of flow and rest, activation and regulation. In sleep, your nervous system continues the sacred work of integration and healing. Your dreams become a space where old patterns can be safely released and new possibilities can be rehearsed. You wake each morning with a nervous system that is more regulated, more resilient, more capable of meeting life from a place of genuine safety rather than defensive protection. Your nervous system's sacred reset isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing relationship of trust and presence that deepens each time you offer it this quality of attention. Tonight is simply the beginning of remembering what your body has always known, that you are worthy of safety, regulation, and the profound peace that comes from being truly at rest in your own being. What if the very act of witnessing your nervous system with such tender compassion is already healing patterns that have been held for lifetimes? There's a version of you that already exists in the reality you dream of creating right now. As your body settles into the gentle embrace of night, this future self is reaching across the quantum field, extending invisible threads of connection that transcend the illusion of linear time. This is not wishful thinking or metaphysical fantasy. This is the profound interconnectedness that quantum physics reveals. When we look beyond the surface of apparent separation, quantum entanglement shows us that particles once connected remain mysteriously linked, regardless of the distance between them. When one particle changes its state, its entangled partner responds instantaneously, as if space and time were merely suggestions rather than absolute laws. Your consciousness operates by these same principles, connected across all versions of your existence in ways that your linear mind struggles to comprehend. The you that has already healed from your deepest wounds, the you that lives with unshakable confidence, the you that has learned to receive love without resistance. These are not distant possibilities waiting somewhere in an imagined future. They exist now, in parallel dimensions of probability, as real as the you that lies here tonight, breathing softly in the darkness. Feel how your consciousness naturally expands as sleep draws near. The boundaries of your individual awareness begin to soften, and in this liminal space, you become more porous to influences beyond ordinary perception. Your future self recognizes this opening and begins to transmit, not through words or images, but through direct transmission of frequency, energy, wisdom. This version of you has already walked the path you are now traveling. They have already dissolved the fears that still sometimes grip you, already found the courage that you are still gathering, already learned to trust in ways that feel impossible from your current vantage point. And because consciousness is entangled across all dimensions of time, their knowing can become your knowing, their frequency can begin to harmonize with yours. You might feel this as a subtle shift in your energy, a quiet confidence settling into your bones, or perhaps as a gentle knowing that surfaces from nowhere, a solution to a problem you've been carrying, a perspective that suddenly makes everything clear. Your future self doesn't speak in the language of thought. They communicate through the transmission of states of being. This is why transformation sometimes happens in leaps, rather than linear progression. One moment you feel stuck in an old pattern, and the next, you find yourself responding from a completely different place. This isn't random, this is quantum entanglement working through your consciousness, allowing information from your evolved self to collapse into your present experience. Your future self remembers what it felt like to be where you are now. They hold deep compassion for your current struggles because they once wore them too. But they also hold the frequency of what lies beyond these struggles. And this frequency becomes available to you when you soften enough to receive it. In quantum physics, observation changes the state of what is observed. When your future self observes your present moment with love and possibility rather than judgment, they are actually influencing your current state. Their compassionate attention helps stabilize the probability waves that are most aligned with your highest good. You don't need to understand how this works with your rational mind. The part of you that needs to know already knows. As your thoughts slow and your breathing deepens, you create the perfect conditions for this quantum communication to occur. Your analytical mind steps aside and your receptive awareness comes online. Sometimes this connection manifests as sudden inspiration that seems to come from nowhere. Sometimes as an inexplicable shift in how you feel about a situation that was troubling you. Sometimes as a dream that carries information your waking mind couldn't access. Your future self works through whatever channels are most open in your particular consciousness. The wisdom they offer is always perfectly calibrated to what you can integrate in this moment. They never overwhelm you with information you're not ready to embody. Instead, they offer exactly what will support your next organic step of evolution, transmitted at a frequency that your nervous system can receive without resistance. This is happening right now in the spaces between your thoughts, in the pause between heartbeats, in the quantum field that connects all versions of your existence. Your future self sees the bigger picture that you cannot yet perceive from your current position. They understand how your present challenges are actually preparing you for gifts you haven't yet imagined. Feel how naturally you begin to relax into this connection. There is no effort required, no special technique to master. This entanglement is your birthright as a conscious being existing across multiple dimensions simultaneously. You are now separate from the you that has already transformed you or entangled with them in ways that make linear time irrelevant. As sleep approaches, your future self continues to transmit their frequency of resolution, peace, and embodied wisdom. They know that transformation is not about becoming someone different, it's about remembering who you have always been beneath the temporary stories of limitation. Tonight, in your dreams, this connection deepens. Your future self can work more directly with your consciousness when your rational mind is at rest, seeding your awareness with possibilities that will bloom in your waking life. When the timing is perfect, you are never alone in your transformation. Across the quantum field, your most evolved self is always reaching back, offering support, guidance, and the frequency of what you are becoming. What will you receive from this connection as consciousness expands into sleep?